Alhamdulillah, in the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the most gracious, the most merciful. Peace and blessings be upon beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. My beloved brothers and sisters, have you ever paused to reflect on the immense lessons hidden in the lives of the prophets mentioned in the Quran? Each of their stories is not just a tale of the past, it is a source of guidance, strength, and inspiration for us in today's world. From the trials of Noah to the steadfastness of Ibrahim, from the patience of Job to the vision of Joseph, their journeys are beacons that light our path. They faced overwhelming challenges, yet their unwavering faith turned impossibilities into miracles. Today we explore not just their stories, but the timeless wisdom that can ignite courage, resilience, and purpose in our own lives. Faith is the invisible anchor that holds us steady when the storms of life rage around us. It is that inner conviction that no matter how impossible a situation seems, there is a higher power guiding every step, and every trial carries a hidden blessing. Look at the prophets of the Quran. Their lives were not devoid of fear, pain, or uncertainty. What set them apart was not the absence of challenges, but their unwavering faith in the face of them. When Adam was tempted and made a mistake, he could have succumbed to shame and despair, but instead he turned to God in repentance, demonstrating that faith can overcome the fear of failure. Noah faced a world that mocked him, a people who refused to listen, and a mission that seemed impossible. Yet his steadfast belief in God's plan gave him the courage to build the ark, to continue preaching despite ridicule, and ultimately to survive the flood that consumed the world around him. His story reminds us that faith is not passive, it is active, resilient, and daring. Abraham, known for his unyielding commitment, faced challenges that would have broken anyone without faith. Being asked to leave his homeland, to confront tyrants, and eventually to sacrifice his beloved son. All of this could have been paralyzing. Yet his trust in God transformed fear into obedience, anxiety into certainty, and uncertainty into divine opportunity. His story illustrates that true faith does not remove fear, it transforms it, turning what seems terrifying into a source of strength. Joseph too endured betrayal by those closest to him, imprisonment, and years of injustice. Fear could have consumed him, resentment could have destroyed his spirit, but his faith was his compass. It guided him through darkness, allowed him to rise with integrity, and eventually positioned him as a leader who saved nations from famine. Faith over fear is not just about believing in miracles, it is about believing in yourself and the values you stand for. Even when the world questions you, when circumstances seem unbearable, and when hope seems distant. It is about understanding that fear is natural, but it does not have to dictate our actions. Each prophet experienced moments of doubt, yet they chose to trust the unseen, to act with conviction, and to move forward despite uncertainty. Moses faced a Pharaoh who seemed invincible, a people who were impatient and rebellious, and a mission that could have easily failed. But his faith gave him the courage to confront tyranny, to lead, and to inspire a nation toward freedom. His life teaches us that faith becomes the bridge over the chasm of fear, enabling us to step into the unknown with courage and purpose. Today, in our modern world, the lessons remain unchanged. Fear shows up in different forms. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of the unknown. Yet, the principle remains timeless. When faith guides your decisions, fear loses its power. It is the faith that keeps a student working late into the night to achieve their dreams despite doubt. The faith that allows an entrepreneur to take risks when uncertainty surrounds them. The faith that helps someone endure heartbreak, loss, or hardship without losing hope. Faith over fear is the daily choice to trust the journey, even when the path is unclear. The lives of the prophets remind us that fear is temporary, but faith is eternal. They teach us that even when the world seems overwhelming, even when circumstances scream impossible, a heart anchored in faith can move mountains. overcome darkness, and manifest miracles. Each story in the Quran serves as a motivational blueprint, showing us that courage is not the absence of fear, but the triumph of faith over it. When we cultivate this inner conviction, we align ourselves with purpose, resilience, and the unstoppable power of hope. In essence, faith over fear is not just a lesson from history, it is a guiding principle for every challenge we face today, lighting our path and empowering us to rise above every storm with courage and confidence. Life is a journey filled with challenges, obstacles, and moments that test the very core of our character. The story of resilience, however, is not about avoiding these trials. It is about facing them with courage, perseverance, and unwavering determination. The prophets of the Quran are the ultimate examples of this resilience. They encountered hardships that would have crushed ordinary people, yet their ability to endure, adapt, and persist turned every trial into a testimony of strength. Noah, for instance, spent decades calling his people to righteousness, facing constant ridicule, rejection, and scorn. He witnessed the stubbornness and cruelty of those around him, yet he did not waver. His resilience was not passive waiting, it was an active, steadfast effort to continue his mission despite relentless opposition. His story shows us that trials are not signs of defeat, they are opportunities to cultivate inner strength and unwavering commitment. Abraham's life is another profound example of resilience. He faced societal rejection, separation from his homeland, and the unimaginable test of being asked to sacrifice his beloved son. At every turn, he was challenged to rise above fear, doubt, and grief. Yet with each trial, he displayed patience, perseverance, and a faith that refused to falter. His resilience was rooted in trust. Trust in a higher purpose, trust in his men, trust in the divine guidance that led him through every storm. Joseph too endured immense trials, betrayal by his own brothers, false accusations, and years of imprisonment. Each setback could have broken his spirit, yet he remained resilient, turning his adversity into an opportunity for growth and eventual triumph. His story reminds us that resilience is not merely enduring hardship. It is about transforming difficulties into stepping stones towards success and purpose. Moses faced trials on a national scale, confronting a tyrant Pharaoh, leading a people who often questioned and rebelled, and navigating the unknown path to liberation. His resilience was fueled by vision and patience. Even when faced with seemingly insurmountable obstacles, he remained committed to his mission, teaching us that resilience requires not only strength, but clarity of purpose. Job's life, perhaps one of the most powerful lessons in endurance, was filled with unimaginable suffering, loss, and personal tragedy. Yet he responded with patience, steadfast faith, and the understanding that trials are temporary, while character and perseverance are eternal. His story illustrates that true resilience is not the absence of suffering, but the ability to remain steadfast and hopeful through it. In our modern lives, resilience manifests in countless ways. It is the student who studies tirelessly despite repeated failures. It is the professional who continues striving toward a dream despite setbacks and discouragement. It is the individual who confronts personal loss, heartbreak, or injustice without surrendering to despair. Resilience transforms ordinary people into extraordinary achievers because it is a choice, a daily decision to rise, to persist, and to remain committed when circumstances tempt us to give up. The lessons from the prophets teach us that trials are not meant to defeat us, they are meant to refine us. Hardship tests our patience, sharpens our character, and molds us into individuals capable of greatness. It is through adversity that we discover our true strength, our inner courage, and our ability to influence the world positively. Every challenge faced with resilience becomes a testimony, not only to our endurance, but also to the limitless potential of faith, determination, and purposeful action. Ultimately, resilience in trials is about believing that no setback is permanent, no darkness is endless, and no failure defines us. The prophets faced unimaginable difficulties, yet they rose every time, stronger, wiser, and more determined. Their lives teach us that resilience is a combination of patience, action, and unwavering faith. It is the ability to stand tall, to move forward, and to keep striving toward the light, even when the journey seems impossible. By embracing resilience, we align ourselves with the same strength that guided the prophets, enabling us to overcome life's challenges, achieve our goals, and leave a legacy of courage and perseverance. Integrity is the unwavering commitment to truth, honesty, and moral principles, even when no one is watching, and even when shortcuts seem tempting. It is the invisible strength that shapes character, earns respect, and builds a foundation for lasting success. The stories of the prophets in the Quran exemplify the power of integrity in the face of immense challenges. Joseph, for example, faced betrayal, false accusations, and the lure of personal gain that could have justified compromise. Yet, he remained steadfast in his values, choosing honesty, patience, and moral rectitude over immediate comfort or reward. His integrity became his shield, guiding him through darkness, elevating him to positions of influence, and ultimately saving countless lives. His story reminds us that staying true to our principles, no matter the circumstances, is a source of enduring strength and honor. Abraham's life was another profound testament to integrity. In a world dominated by corruption, idolatry, and societal pressure, he refused to compromise his beliefs. He challenged norms, spoke truth to power, and adhered to his moral compass even when it meant standing alone against entire nations. His integrity was not passive. It was courageous, active, and transformative. It inspired generations, proving that integrity is not just about personal virtue, but also about the positive impact it can have on communities and society at large. Similarly, Moses demonstrated integrity through his leadership. Guiding a people through oppression, rebellion, and uncertainty, he remained committed to justice, truth, and accountability. Even when others faltered or complained, he held fast to principles that aligned with divine guidance, showing that integrity is the cornerstone of leadership and influence. The importance of integrity extends beyond spiritual or historical examples. It is a vital force in our modern lives. Integrity shapes trust in relationships, credibility in professional settings, and the strength to make difficult decisions without succumbing to shortcuts or deceit. When faced with ethical dilemmas, integrity is the compass that guides us, ensuring that our choices are aligned with our values rather than temporary gain. Like the prophets, we encounter situations where dishonesty, compromise, or moral weakness may appear convenient. Yet the path of integrity always leads to lasting honor, peace of mind, and positive outcomes. Job, whose life was filled with unimaginable suffering, loss, and injustice, demonstrated integrity by maintaining his faith, honesty, and patience, even when all external circumstances suggested despair. He did not allow adversity to corrupt his values or shake his moral foundation. His life teaches us that integrity is not conditional on comfort or ease. It is tested and proven in moments of hardship and challenge. Similarly, David, despite his authority and influence, exemplified integrity in leadership by seeking justice, honoring truth, and remaining accountable to a higher moral standard. His story reminds us that integrity is inseparable from responsibility, influence, and service to others. In practical terms, integrity matters because it creates a foundation of trust, respect, and authenticity. People are drawn to those who are consistent, reliable, and principled. Success achieved without integrity may yield temporary gains, but it lacks the permanence and dignity that come from living a life aligned with moral truth. Integrity is the engine behind resilience, faith, and leadership. It sustains us when trials come, guides us when choices are difficult, and amplifies the impact of our actions on others. Ultimately, integrity is a quiet yet powerful force. It is the courage to say no when temptation whispers yes, the wisdom to uphold truth when deception surrounds us, and the strength to remain steadfast when the world tests our principles. The Prophet's lives teach us that integrity is more than a moral choice. It is a transformative power that shapes destinies, inspires communities, and creates legacies that endure for generations. When we prioritize integrity in our own lives, we not only honor our values, but we also align ourselves with a timeless force that enables us to overcome challenges, earn trust, and leave a positive mark on the world that cannot be erased. A life without purpose is like a ship without a compass, adrift, directionless, and vulnerable to every storm. The greatest lesson from the lives of the prophets is that purpose gives meaning to existence, transforms challenges into opportunities, and inspires action even in the most difficult circumstances. Each prophet mentioned in the Quran was guided by a mission far greater than themselves. Their purpose was not rooted in personal gain, recognition, or comfort, but in serving humanity, upholding truth, and fulfilling a divine plan. This unwavering sense of purpose propelled them forward, even when the path was dangerous, lonely, or fraught with obstacles. Their stories remind us that a clear and meaningful purpose can ignite the human spirit, providing the strength to endure trials, resist temptation, and persevere when others might give up. Consider Noah, who dedicated decades to warning a society that mocked, ridiculed, and resisted him at every turn. His mission was clear. He was committed to guiding his people towards salvation, no matter the personal cost. The purpose in his life transformed despair into determination, turning ridicule to motivation and isolation into focus. Abraham too exemplified living with purpose. He challenged societal norms, questioned injustice, and followed divine guidance with a clarity that allowed him to make life-altering sacrifices. His sense of mission was not temporary. It shaped his decisions, guided his actions, and left a lasting legacy that continues to inspire millions. Purpose in this sense is not just a goal, it is the guiding light that frames every decision, every challenge, and every triumph. Joseph's life provides a profound example of how purpose can sustain us through adversity. Betrayed by his brothers, imprisoned unjustly, and forgotten by those he trusted, Joseph never lost sight of his greater mission. His purpose gave him resilience, patience, and the wisdom to act with integrity. It was this sense of purpose that elevated him from hardship to leadership, transforming personal suffering into a means of serving a greater good. Similarly, Moses dedicated his life to the liberation of his people, facing Pharaoh's tyranny, the rebellion of his followers, and the uncertainty of the desert. His mission provided clarity and courage, allowing him to endure trials that would have broken anyone without a higher sense of purpose. In our modern world, purpose is just as vital. It transforms work into fulfillment, challenges into lessons, and obstacles into stepping stones. A student who studies with a purpose is motivated even in the face of difficulty. An entrepreneur with a mission to serve society can navigate failure with persistence and vision. A person who aligns their life with meaningful goals finds direction in chaos, hope in despair, and energy in moments of exhaustion. Purpose-driven individuals do not merely react to life. They shape it, influence others, and leave legacies that endure far beyond their years. The lives of the prophets also show that purpose is deeply connected to service. Purpose is not self-serving. It is a force that elevates others, uplifts communities, and creates positive change. Every decision, every sacrifice, and every struggle was guided by a vision of what could be, rather than mere survival or comfort. They remind us that true purpose is measured not by personal gain, but by the impact we leave on the world, the inspiration we ignite in others, and the values we uphold when no one is watching. Ultimately, a purpose-driven life is a life that transcends fear, doubt, and adversity. It transforms ordinary actions into extraordinary achievements. It gives meaning to pain, clarity to confusion, and courage to face uncertainty. When we embrace our own purpose, no obstacle is too great, no challenge too overwhelming, and no moment too small to make a difference. The prophets' lives illuminate this truth. When we live with intention, guided by a higher mission, every step becomes significant, every struggle meaningful, and every day an opportunity to move closer to greatness. Purpose is not a luxury. It is the foundation of resilience, strength, and legacy. And it is the force that can turn ordinary lives into extraordinary stories of inspiration and impact. True leadership is not measured by authority, titles, or power. It is measured by service, humility, and the ability to inspire others through action. The prophets of the Quran embody this principle, demonstrating that leadership is most effective when it is rooted in compassion, guidance, and a genuine commitment to the welfare of others. They were not leaders because they demanded obedience, but because they served their communities, uplifted the oppressed, and led by example. Their lives remind us that leadership is not a position of privilege. It is a responsibility, a calling, and a profound opportunity to create positive change. The essence of leadership through service lies in putting others before oneself, acting with integrity, and making sacrifices for the greater good, even when personal comfort is at stake. Moses, for instance, is a powerful example of service-oriented leadership. He was tasked with guiding an entire nation out of oppression, facing Pharaoh's tyranny, and managing the doubts and complaints of his people along the way. Leadership, in his case, required immense patience, courage, and a deep sense of responsibility. Moses' authority was not derived from fear or coercion, but from the trust he earned by prioritizing the needs of his people, by advocating for justice, and by remaining steadfast in his mission. His life teaches us that true leaders are servants at heart, dedicated to uplifting others rather than asserting dominance. David provides another inspiring example. Despite being a king, he demonstrated humility, fairness, and a commitment to justice. He led not just by decree, but through righteous example, compassion for his people, and accountability to a higher moral standard. Leadership through service requires courage to make difficult decisions that benefit the community, even at personal cost. It requires a willingness to listen, empathize, and act in ways that empower others to reach their potential. The prophets embody this, showing that leadership is never about self-glory. It is about stewardship, guidance, and creating an environment where people can thrive. Joseph's journey also reflects the principles of leadership through service. Elevated to a position of influence in a foreign land, he did not use his power for personal gain or revenge against those who wronged him. Instead, he served the people, managed resources wisely during famine, and provided for the vulnerable. His leadership was defined by foresight, compassion, and a commitment to the common good. This story illustrates that leadership through service is transformative. It changes not only the leader, but also the lives of countless others. Leadership rooted in service builds trust, inspires loyalty, and leaves a legacy that endures far beyond the individual's lifetime. In today's world, the lesson of leadership through advice is more relevant than ever. Leaders who prioritize their teams, communities, and societies over personal ambition create environments where innovation, collaboration, and growth flourish. Leadership is no longer about commanding, it is about inspiring, guiding, and lifting others toward a shared vision. A student who mentors peers, a professional who supports colleagues, a community member who advocates for justice, all exemplify leadership through service. The principle is universal. To lead effectively, we must first serve, and in serving, we cultivate the qualities of trust, empathy, and resilience that define true leaders. Ultimately, leadership through service is a choice and a mindset. It requires humility, selflessness, and a commitment to values that transcend personal interests. The Prophet's lives teach us that serving others is not a weakness, it is the ultimate strength. It empowers us to face challenges with courage, build relationships with integrity, and influence the world with lasting impact. Every act of service, no matter how small, strengthens the leader within us, inspires those around us, and contributes to a legacy that extends far beyond our lifetime. Leadership through service transforms ordinary lives into extraordinary examples of inspiration, leaving a blueprint for generations to come. By embracing this principle, we learn that to lead is to serve, and to serve is to achieve greatness that resonates through time. The stories of the prophets in the Quran are not mere accounts of the past. They are timeless lessons that resonate across centuries, cultures, and generations. These lessons are not confined to history. They are living principles that guide, inspire, and empower us in the challenges of modern life. Each prophet faced trials, dilemmas, and moments of doubt that are strikingly similar to the struggles we encounter today. What marked their stories extraordinary is not just the miracles or divine interventions they experienced, but the wisdom embedded in their choices, actions, and perseverance. These stories serve as a roadmap, teaching us how to live with faith, integrity, courage, and purpose, regardless of the circumstances that surround us. Adam teaches us about humility and the importance of seeking guidance even after failure. His story shows that mistakes are part of the human experience, and that acknowledging them, learning from them, and turning back to the right path is the mark of wisdom. Noah's unwavering commitment in the face of ridicule reminds us that perseverance and patience are essential when working toward a greater purpose. Abraham's unwavering faith and ability to stand firm in the face of extreme tests demonstrate that conviction in one's principles is timelessly powerful. Joseph's resilience and commitment to integrity despite betrayal and hardship highlight that steadfastness and moral clarity will ultimately lead to success. Moses teaches the value of leadership, patience, and service to others, while Job's story embodies endurance, patience, and maintaining faith in adversity. David's example of balancing power with justice shows us that responsibility and accountability are essential qualities for any leader or individual seeking to make a positive impact. These lessons are not abstract, they are actionable principles that we can apply in every aspect of life. They teach us that challenges are opportunities for growth, that moral integrity is more valuable than temporary gain, and that faith and resilience can turn adversity into triumph. They remind us that true success is measured not by wealth, status, or recognition, but by character, purpose, and the positive influence we leave on the world. When we internalize these lessons, we develop a mindset that is resilient in the face of fear, disciplined in the face of temptation, and compassionate in the face of injustice. We learn to navigate modern challenges with clarity, confidence, and courage. The timeless nature of these lessons also lies in their universality. They transcend cultural, social, and historical boundaries, proving that human nature, challenges, and aspirations remain consistent across time. The struggles of the prophets mirror our own struggles: fear, doubt, betrayal, injustice, and temptation. The solutions they modeled, faith, resilience, integrity, patience, and purpose, are equally relevant today. By studying their lives, we gain insight into how to face personal challenges, how to lead with empathy, and how to act with wisdom even when circumstances seem overwhelming. Moreover, these timeless lessons inspire us to think beyond ourselves. They encourage us to seek a higher purpose, to act with ethical responsibility, and to contribute positively to our communities. They remind us that our actions, no matter how small, have ripple effects that can inspire and uplift others. They teach us that courage is not the absence of fear, but the ability to act despite it. That patience is not waiting passively, but enduring actively while maintaining hope and effort. That integrity is not situational, but a constant commitment to truth and moral values. That leadership is most effective when it serves others, not oneself. And that purpose gives meaning to every struggle, guiding us through life with clarity and direction. Ultimately, the lessons of the prophets are timeless because they address the core of human existence. Our values, our choices, our resilience, and our ability to inspire change. They empower us to navigate life with strength, wisdom, and vision. When we embrace these lessons, we are not only honoring the legacy of the prophets, but also equipping ourselves to live extraordinary lives that leave lasting impact. By applying these principles, we cultivate a life of purpose, courage, and integrity that resonates far beyond our immediate circumstances, creating a legacy that can inspire generations to come.